Human body.
Care.
Evidence.
3. Let's start! Woo!
I am going to explain the path of the sperm. First, the sperm is produced in the testes. Where they are matured, they go to the epididymis where they are stored. Then they go to the vas deferens. Then, of the vas deferens, they make a curve in the abdominal cavity. Well, with the urinary bladder, they go to the ejaculatory duct, which is connected to the urethra. Now I'm going to explain you some organs of the male reproductive system. First, the testes is where the sperm is produced. Then the epididymis is where the sperm mature sperm is stored. The vas deferens is where it will pass the sperm. The seminal vesicle, the prostate gland and the vulvorethral gland, it will add some secretions to the semen. And finally, the penis is the male reproductive organ. The seminal vesicles hold the liquid that mixes with the sperm to form the semen. The prostate gland, it secretes a fluid that nourishes and protects the sperm. And finally, the vulvorethral gland secretes a liquid called pre-ejaculatory liquid that is viscous, clear, and salty that neutralizes any residual acidity in the urethra.
I'm going to talk about the hormonal regulation of the male reproductive system. The hypothalamus controls the function of the testes because it secretes a hormone called gonadotropin releasing hormone that stimulates the anterior pituitary gland to secrete the gonadotropic hormones that control the testes. The gonadotropic hormones are follicle stimulating hormones and luteinizing hormone, and they are found in both males and females. In males, FSH promotes the production of sperm in the seminiferous tubulus, and the LH promotes the production of the testosterone by the interstitial cells. All these hormones are controlled by negative feedback mechanism, which maintain the productive of sperm and testosterone within normal ranges.
Now let's explain the female reproductive system, where the gonads in the female consist of the ovaries located on each side of the upper pelvis, and the function of the ovaries are to produce the oocytes or eggs in a process called oogenesis, where the female genital tract consists of the oviducts, the uterus, and the vagina. The oviducts or the fallopian tubes extend from the uterus to the ovaries. The main function of the oviducts is to guide the egg into the oviducts and sweep it toward the uterus, that is here. The fertilization of the egg with the sperm takes place in the oviducts that are here, between the ovary and the uterus. Now let's explain some organs and the function. The uterus is a hollow muscular organ about the size and shape of an inverted pear. It is lined with a vascular tissue called endometrium and is where the embryo is embedded when it reaches the uterus. The vagina is a long muscular tube that lies at 45 degrees angle to the lower back. The female external genital collapse is known as vulva, and they include the labia majora, labia minora, ureter opening, vaginal entrance, and labia clitoris. The labia majora is there are two large hair-covered skin. The labia minora are two small folds lying just inside the labia majora. The gland clitoris contains erectile tissue that becomes filled with blood during sexual stimulation, and the openings and the urethra of the and the vagina are cleft between the labia minora. The fertilization of the egg with the sperm takes place in the oviducts. The resulting zygote continues to divide as it travels toward the uterus, becoming an embryo. The embryo reaches the uterus in about 1 week.
And now we're going to talk about the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland in a female. Okay, the hormones secreted from the hypothalamus, the anterior pituitary gland, and the ovaries control the main events of the ovarian and uterine cycles. The gonadotropic hormones are follicle stimulating hormone, or FSH, and luteinizing hormone, LH, and they are found in both males and in females. In females, FSH promotes the production of egg, and LH promotes the production of progesterone. Gonadotropin releasing hormone controls the cycles by stimulating the follicle stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone from the anterior pituitary gland.
The ovarian cycle includes a series of events that occur during and after the maturation of an oocyte. The uterine cycle involves a series of changes in the endometrium of the uterus to prepare it for the arrival of a fertilized egg that will develop there until birth. The hormones secreted from the ovaries during the ovarian cycle control the events of the uterine cycle. The ovarian cycle is divided into three parts: the follicular phase, ovulation, and the luteal phase. Well, first, the follicular phase is when the FSH released by the anterior pituitary gland stimulates the development of the follicle in one of the ovaries. Then the second phase, ovulation, is the release of the secondary oocyte from the follicle and into the oviduct. And finally, the luteal phase is when LH promotes the development of the corpus luteum, which consists of the follicle cell left behind after ovulation. Then we can find the uterine cycle. The uterine cycle is divided in three parts: menstruation, proliferative phase, and secretory phase. But first, something really important is that the female hormones estrogen and progesterone produced by the ovary during the ovarian cycle affect the endometrium, causing the uterus to undergo the cyclic changes known as the uterine cycle. The first part of the uterine cycle is the menstruation. It lasts from day 1 to about day 5, and it consists of the breakdown of the endometrium with blood passing out of the vagina. The proliferative phase is from day 6 to 13 and consists of the build-up of the endometrium, which becomes more vascular and glandular. And finally, the secretory phase is from day 15 to 28 and consists of the endometrium doubling or tripling in thickness and uterine glands, producing a thick mucus secretion.
Now we're going to talk about birth control methods. The abstinence is the most reliable birth control method we have. It means not engaging in any sexual contact. Another birth control method is the surgical sterilization. It's a procedure that makes a person unable to reproduce. The most common means of sterilization in males is vasectomy, in which part of each vas deferens is removed. In females, sterilization is done by a tubal ligation, in which both oviducts are tied off and then cut, resulting in the secondary oocyte being unable to pass through the oviducts and sperm can reach to the oocyte. The hormonal methods are very effective means of birth control. The oral contraceptives or birth control pills contain various mixtures of estrogens and progestins. They prevent pregnancy mainly by negative feedback inhibition of FSH and LH. The emergency contraception, also known as the morning after pill, contains relatively high levels of estrogens and progestin, which give negative feedback inhibition of FSH and LH secretion, causing the ovaries to cease secretion of their estrogens and progesterone.
Spermicides are chemicals that contain sperm-killing agents and come in foams, creams, jellies, suppositories, and douche. They make the vagina and cervix unfavorable for the survival of sperms. Now we're going to talk about the barrier methods that help to prevent of disease. A condom is a non-porous latex covering placed over an aortic penis that prevents sperm from reaching the female reproductive tract. The vaginal pouch, sometimes called a female condom, consists of two flexi rings connected by a polyurethane sheet. One ring lies inside the sheet and is inserted 2 feet over the cervix. The other ring remains outside the vagina and covers the female external genitals. A diaphragm is a rubber dome-shaped device that fits over the cervix and is used together with a spermicide. It can be inserted up to 6 hours before intercourse. The diaphragm stops most sperms from passing into the cervix, and the spermicide kills most of the sperms that do get by.